Indonesia asked regional development banks and national private banks to immediately lower their credit interest rates. United Tractors is about to distribute dividend of 2.4 trillion rupiah. Good afternoon, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of information from business, economic, and capital market sectors with me, Claranta Wijaya, and this is Market Headlines. Governor of Bank Indonesia, Peri Warjio, asked regional development banks and national private banks to immediately lower their credit interest rates in line with the reductions in the benchmark interest rate that has been carried out by the central bank.
Bank Indonesia's desire for regional development banks and national private banks to lower their lending rates is a concrete step in encouraging national economic recovery. Meanwhile, in order to increase enthusiasm for lending, Bank Indonesia has also relaxed macroprudential policies by issuing a policy of 0% down payments for automotive loans and 100% LTV ratio. Bank Indonesia Governor Peri Warjio revealed that currently only regional development banks and national private banks have yet to lower their credit interest rates, where previously the state-owned banks had already lowered their lending rates.
Sekarang tinggal bank swasta lain, ayo turunkan suku bunga supaya kita terus mendorong ekonomi kita.
For information, Bank Indonesia has aggressively lowered the BI 7 days reverse repo rate to the level of 3.5%, which is the lowest interest rate in history. From Jakarta, Gilang Praditya for IDX Channel.
The government, through the Ministry of Industry, is ready to showcase Indonesia's technological advances in the Hanover Messe 2021 digital edition. And this tape was taken for Indonesia's strategy campaign in 4.0 industry.
As a partner country at the Hanover Messe 2021 event, Indonesia will be the first Asian country to have the opportunity to have a global campaign for Indonesia's strategic initiatives in the 4.0 industry. In his presentation, Minister of Industry Agus Gumiwang Kartasasmita said that the theme of industrial transformers is at the same time complementing making Indonesia 4.0. Moreover, this is an opportunity for Indonesia to show its position as a new power in the world economy and a global manufacturing player.
Kesiapan kita memasuki era digital, ya kita perlu dan untuk menjelaskan kepada dunia bahwa kita sudah mempunyai roadmap, ya yang kita sebut dengan program Making Indonesia 4.0, di mana pada muaranya nanti kita harapkan bahwa semua proses produksi itu akan menghasilkan produk-produk Indonesia yang memiliki daya saing yang lebih tinggi. Jadi kita menunjukkan kepada dunia bahwa Indonesia ini sudah menjadi negara yang transform, ya sesuai dengan peta jalan Making Indonesia 4.0. Yang kedua juga untuk memberikan kesempatan bagi perusahaan-perusahaan industri khususnya startup, ya. Untuk mereka bisa menampilkan kepada atau meyakinkan kepada dunia bahwa mereka sudah siap juga, ya sudah siap juga untuk bertransformasi, khususnya para startup yang tadi saya sampaikan di awal.
Indonesia's participation as a partner country in the Hanover Messe 2021 is supported by 156 exhibitors consisting of ministries, institutions, state-owned enterprises, universities, and national private companies. The Minister of Industry said that this event could increase investment, industrial cooperation, and business agreements, especially when Indonesia was expected to become a global attraction. From Jakarta, Ade Firmansyah for IDX Channel.
Representatives has approved any change in the ministerial form, whereas it has been decided that the Ministry of Education and Culture will be mashed up with the Ministry of Research and Technology.
The plenary session of representatives has approved the merger of the Ministry of Research Technology and the Ministry of Education and Culture. With this merger, the organizational structure of the Ministry of Research and Technology will be automatically lost. Next up, President Joko Widodo will give its decision whether he will approve it or not. The Director General of Higher Education at the Ministry of Education and Culture, Nizam, warmly welcomed the merger of the Ministry of Research and Technology with Education Ministry. Nizam said that the combination of research technology functions would actually strengthen the Director General of Higher Education. Currently, Higher Education Affair is maintained by two ministries, and therefore, according to Nizam, it would be better if it lies under one ministry. From all sources, IDX Channel.
Independent of Development for Economic and Finance, or INDEF, stated that behind the merger between the Ministry of Education and Culture with the Ministry of Research and Technology, it has tremendous cost to bear with. Merger between Ministry of Education and also Technology has many criticism, including from the economic observers. INDEF researcher Nailul Huda said that in order to make merger happen, the government needs to bear high cost because it takes effort to change nomenclature and also with the new ministerial order. On the other hand, Huda is also worried that the Ministry of Research and Technology will not be maximized in advancing innovations and technology. As there are many things to be considered, therefore, the observer questioned the urgency behind the merger because it happens in the midst of pandemic.
Ya, yang dianggarkan oleh pemerintah kepada Kementerian Pendidikan Kebudayaan dan Ristek nantinya akan semakin membengkak, itu satu. Nah, pembengkakan ini terjadi ya pasti karena ada perubahan nomenklatur, nama, terus juga mungkin akan ada pos baru yaitu Wakil Menteri Kemendikbud dan Ristek. Nah, inilah yang menyebabkan adanya pembengkakan anggaran di dalam tubuh kementerian yang jadi satu ini. Nah, di sisi lain ternyata BRIN juga nantinya akan berdiri sendiri. Berarti ada pos lagi untuk BRIN sebagai badan di bawah presiden secara langsung. Nah, di sini saya melihat bahwa ketika menghadapi pandemi seperti ini atau kita tengah di masa pandemi, kebijakan ini sungguh dirasa tidak akan efektif.
Market headlines will be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned.
PT Garuda Indonesia Persero Tbk telah melakukan pemutusan kontrak penyewaan 12 pesawat bombardir CGR-1000.
Kita memutuskan untuk mengembalikan 12 pesawat bombardir CRJ-1000.
Pemerintah berencana memberikan insentif pajak penjualan atas barang mewah atau PPNBM untuk kendaraan bermotor.
Tujuan dari insentif ini adalah dalam rangka mendorong pemulihan ekonomi lebih cepat.
Indeks harga saham gabungan bergerak fluktuatif.
Nilai tukar rupiah terhadap dolar Amerika Serikat sedikit mengalami apresiasi.
Bagaimana dengan target pertumbuhan ekonomi Indonesia di kuartal 1 tahun ini?
Sehingga pada kuartal 1 tahun 2021 diperkirakan ekonomi akan mengalami kontraksi, akan mengalami penurunan.
Faktor-faktor utama dalam penolakan dari Uni Eropa terkait produk sawit Indonesia.
Indonesia disebut belum mampu menerapkan standar lingkungan yang cukup dan juga standar keberlanjutan yang cukup.
Welcome back to Market Headlines. Mega corruptions case of Bank Indonesia Liquidity Support or BLBI is back again to steal the spotlight. Government will do the billing and hunting down the assets of the perpetrators because the DAB in this case reaches more than 108 trillion rupiah.
Corruption Eradication Commissions, or KPK, officially stopped the investigations into the corruption case of Bank Indonesia Liquidity Support, or BLBI. Not letting the case go out, the government formed a special task force to investigate the case. The President issued Presidential Decree No. 6 of 2021 concerning the task force on handling the right of state bill of Bank Indonesia Liquidity Support funds. The task force has started to operate by April 6, 2021 up to December 31, 2023. All costs are financed by Finance Ministry. In the presidential decree, there are 5 ministers plus the Attorney General and the Chief of Police who are tasked with directing the task force to conduct billing and processing all guarantees to immediately become state assets. From all sources, IDX Channel.
Back in 1998 Asian financial crisis, the government through the central bank provided liquidity support of 144.5 trillion rupiah to assist 48 commercial banks in coping with massive run during the monetary crisis. But sadly, 95% of the money was eventually corrupted. And currently, government formed a special task force to investigate more about the case. And before we talk further, let's see on how this corruption case damaged the country. Let's see the first graphic. Here it is, the mega corruptions Bank Indonesia Liquidity Support, or we can call it as BLBI. The task force say that the total state losses resulting from the case were more than 108 trillion rupiah in terms of receivable assets. This was discovered after a meeting with the Director General of State Assets and the Junior Attorney General for Civil and State Administrations. And there is a business tycoon, Shamsul Nur Salim, as a suspect. And according to KPK, Shamsul still own around 4.58 trillion in total to the government. And however, the Corruption Eradication Commission, or KPK, announced on Thursday it has dropped the protracted bailed out the graft case. And it's for the first time for the KPK to terminate a corruption case in the commission's history. Not letting the case go out, the government formed a special task force for investigating the case. Whereas the coordinating minister for political and legal and security affairs, Mahfud MD, will visit the Corruption Eradication Commission on Tuesday to ask for complementary data regarding the case. And BLBI corruption is one of the mega corruption scandals in Indonesia. So let's see what else in the graphic. Here it is. Through the graphic, we can see the Asabri case. About the Asabri, the insurer which managed the social insurance and pension funds or personnel of the National Police, Indonesia's military, and employees of the Defense Ministry say that the losses were caused by the declining value of Asabri's investment portfolio as a result of unfavorable capital market conditions. While the insurer has been implicated in recently revealed the alleged corruption at state-owned insurer Asuransi Jiwasraya after its stock portfolio plunged by more than 95%, and most of the stocks are similar to those of Jiwasraya, which was deemed as the low-quality stocks by the Supreme Audit Agency. Moving on to the eKTP case, It involved the chairman of the Golkar party, Setia Novanto, which is suspected of having profited himself. Another person or a corporation misused his authority and the positions and jointly caused a loss to the state with an amount of 2.3 trillion rupiah out of the project value of 5.9 trillion rupiah. With this all corruption stingy happens, many Indonesians worry about the conditions, and some may wonder, where is Indonesia's positions in terms of corruption issue? Is it still normal, or it starts to be dangerous? And to answer that, Transparency International Indonesia released Indonesia Corruption Perception Index. So let's see our rank in the next graphic. Through the next graphic, we can see that in 2020, we are in the 37th rank, while in 2019, we are at the 40th. And yes, when we take a look at 2020, which is last year, Indonesia's current corruption perception index score stands as 37 on the scale of 0 to 100. Let me tell you, the score of a 0 is a very corrupted, and the score of 100 is very clean. So as Indonesia stands at 37, well, we can say that we need to be precautious. Index went down 3 positions from 2019, and the decline has also caused Indonesia's positions to drop 102nd out of 180 countries assessed for its index. And previously, Indonesia was in a position of 85th. But the next question is, where's Indonesia's position in terms of corruption case? So let's see it through the next graphic. Here it is. We can see Southeast Asia countries. When we talk about the corruption perceptions index, the highest, which is the cleanest country, goes to Singapore by the index of 85, and then Brunei Darussalam by 60, and then Malaysia by 51. Even Timor-Leste is away from Indonesia in the 40 index, while Indonesia is in a 37. And this position means that Indonesia's business environment suffers from widespread of corruptions. And compared with its citizens in other Southeast Asia's countries, Indonesians are more likely to say that corruption is prevalent in both government and business sectors. And even worse, a majority of Indonesians noticed that corruption had become more rampant in the country. And according to a recent survey by Saiful Mujani Research and Consulting, the survey polled around 1,202 respondents, and 55% of them believed that there were more corruption cases in 2020 than in the previous year. And then the 26% say that it was the same as the last year. And yes, viewers, corruption is ingrained in the story of Indonesia dating back to before the colonial period. Only us and all stakeholders can work together to stop the detrimental habit. Stay with us because market headlines will be right back after this quick break.
I think what we have to do is for returning.
Hello, I'm Clara Antawijaya. I'm associate producer and news presenter on Market Headlines. as market headline starts at 4:30 p.m., which is in line with the closing market. Therefore, we summarize the market conditions only for you. And my job in here as a journalist, I give concise and accurate news for the audience. And also, being a journalist is not only a job for me, but it is also a passion. Welcome back to Market Headlines. So let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index entry the movement. So earlier today, JCI was open at level of 6,039.8, and then approaching the closing time of the first session, the index was on level of 5,989.06, and then the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at a level of 5,948.56. In short, JCI went down 2%. Next, we're going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got constructions as the leader of the weakening trend that went down 3.45%. MISC industry that went down 3.07%. Finance went down 1.7%. Agriculture went down 0.67%. Moving on to the top gainers and the top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading sessions. We got Arto that went up 6.98% to the level of 10,725 per share. We got BANK that went up 5.88% to the level of 3,060 per share. We got PNBS that went up 2.34% to the level of 131%. We got Marie that went up 1.4% to the level of 290 per share. Meantime, for the top losers for today's trading sessions, we got BBCA that went down 2.18% to the level of 30,325 rupiah per share. We got BBRI that went down 3.22% to the level of 4,210 rupiah per share. We got ANTM or Antam that went down 3.85% to the level of 2,250 rupiah per share. And Astra International that went down 3.79% to the level of 5,075 rupiah per share. And next, we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at level of 14,580. Rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. I was close at the level of 14,556. In summary, rupiah went down 0.19%. United Tractors has set a total cash dividend for 2020 financial year of 2.4 trillion to 644 rupiah per share. And the dividend was approved at the annual general meeting of shareholders, which was held last week.
United Tractors has set a total cash dividend for the 2020 financial year of 2.4 trillion or 644 rupiah per share. United Tractors Corporate Secretary Sarah K. Lubis said the cash dividend of 2.4 trillion rupiah includes interim dividends of 171 rupiah per share, or a total of 637 billion rupiah, which was paid on October 2020. The total cash dividend will be paid to the company's shareholders on May 11, 2021. The remaining net profit of the company will be recorded as retained earnings. As is known, the company throughout 2020 posted a net profit of 6 trillion rupiah, a decrease of 46.93% compared to the same period in the previous year, which recorded 11.31 trillion rupiah. The company's net income also decreased to 60.34 trillion rupiah, or a 28.52% decrease. IDX Channel team reported.
Lipo Karawaci managed to make a positive performance during the first quarter of 2021. The company's sales shot up by 86% year-on-year to 1.31 trillion rupiah.
Lipo Karawaci managed to make a positive performance during the first quarter of 2021. The company's sales shot 86% year-on-year to 1.31 trillion rupiah. compared to 703 billion rupiah in the first quarter of 2020. This was driven by the residential cluster trade segment, middle class representing 63% of total sales. The company estimates that sales in the second quarter of 2021 will increase because it is supported by the launch of two new projects, namely the Cendana cluster in Lipo Village and the launch of a commercial cluster in Lipo Cikarang. Apart from sales from the residential segment, commercial sales also increased 965% year-on-year to 53 billion rupiah. Meanwhile, sales of the industrial segment increased 162% year-on-year, in line with the easing of the COVID-19 pandemic and the improving investment climate in the country. In 2021, Lipo Karawaci has set a marketing sales target of 3.5 trillion rupiah, of which 60% will come from the parent company. From IDX Channel team, reported.
That was all for market conditions. As coronavirus pandemic takes a big role on current economic situations, here is an update data about coronavirus globally. Of market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic business and capital market channel. Lantai. Have a nice evening.